Some potentially dangerous explosive devices are found at an Arlington home by a resident doing some house cleaning. We have the very latest from Arlington Police on what happened next. Celebrating Black History Month, Arlington is adorning Mass Ave with several banners depicting Americans who made great strides in shaping our U.S. history. We take a look at one brave American who was the very first casualty of the American Revolution. Quiet on the set. ACMi is making an offer you can't refuse. We're looking for a few creative directors, actors, and film crew members as we get ready for the 2022 8-Town Film Festival. We have all the details. And the Jason Russell House is making a casting call for tour guides. Do you have what it takes to take your passion of history and bring it to life? A brief history lesson on one of Arlington's historical treasures, and information on how you can tell Mr. Russell's fascinating story. ACMi News starts right now.
From McLennan Park to Spy Pond, from Poets Corner to the Mystic River, we have Arlington covered. We're your neighbors, a friend you can turn to, giving you stories that count from people who care, dedicated, determined, dependable. This is ACMi News.
Here's something you don't hear every day. Police say one Arlington resident was cleaning out his garage Thursday, February 3rd, when he came across very old explosive devices. Hello, I'm Paul Werlin.
And I'm James Milan. These explosives are used to dismantle old structures and can easily pose a danger if they're not handled properly. The resident had a pretty good idea what these devices were and did the right thing. He immediately called Arlington Police, and Captain Richard Flynn picks up the story from there.
It's kind of a bizarre story, but it seems like there was an astute resident who realized what he had found, I guess, cleaning the garage, and immediately called authorities.
Yeah, so and not that out of the norm. I mean, this particular item, but we do take in a lot of things that, unwanted firearms and what have you. So a resident yesterday morning was cleaning out his garage, found really what it was some construction material that had kind of an explosive component to it. So, once he realized what he had found, he had called us for some advice and to hopefully help him out. So the responding officer went up and immediately after he saw what he contacted the station. We contacted our partners at the Arlington Fire Department. They went out, they took a look at it. And then, it was something that we wanted to handle kind of gently or whatnot and have destroyed. So again, it's, Jeff, this world's all about partnerships. So we contacted the state police. They have a unit that comes out and handles those kind of items. And they came out, they evaluated it, and they said, we're going to probably need to destroy this, and we should do this relatively kind of quickly and in this area if we can. So, they take a look at the town and the layout and whatnot, and they quickly identify a couple of places where they thought they should do it. They ended up picking Mount Pleasant Cemetery for probably a number of reasons. Plenty of land in there, town-owned land, the lake on the other side, kind of easily we can shut down that area quickly once they take care of it. And they did their thing, and they took care of that. It was really no incident once they took care of it.
I understand the explosives were used for tear downs, dismantling structures, buildings, things like that. Do we know how old they were, and if they did pose a danger, if they just sat in that house ignored?
Yeah, I think they would have actually had, someone would have had to, move them, touch them, or do something, off with them. But they were definitely old, and they were starting to break down. And they quickly identified the fire department and the state quickly said, these are probably going to, at the point, if they haven't already, become a little bit unstable. So but they're the professionals in those areas, and they handled them and got them out of that residence or the garage at that residence, and then moved them to where they thought they would be able to take care of it safely. And they did that. And with each kind of incident like this, usually some good comes from it. And this is a good time to get that out to the public. If if you should be, in a new home or you come across something, you just don't know what it is. And if you're uneasy in any way, call us, and we'll gladly come out and take a look at it and deal with it appropriately. And if you come across a firearm or whatnot, would suggest you leave it right where it is and call us, and we'll come out and take a look at it instead of picking it up and throwing it in the car and bringing it to the station. It's something that we do and we've done for years, and we gladly do that.
Captain Flynn says that when police arrived on the scene, the devices looked fairly old and that they were beginning to break down. Police are quick to emphasize, though, that this was not a bomb and at no time was anyone in danger.
Arlington's Director of Health and Human Services, Christine Bongiorno, and Arlington Housing Authority Executive Director Jack Nagel report their agencies are among several working together to provide much-needed support to residents displaced by the January 22nd fire at AHA's Chestnut Manor property. The HHS and the AHA have met daily with reps from Minuteman Senior Services, Somerville Homeless Coalition, and the American Red Cross to work toward meeting the needs of those residents. All organizations have worked to help 21 residents salvage their belongings, replace what could not be salvaged, and place them in new units. So far, the groups managed to raise nearly $35,000. Town leaders say of the 21 people displaced, 2 have moved back into their apartments. The remaining 19 have been assigned to new permanent units, and move-in dates have been scheduled. AHA has partnered with Mini Moves to provide packing and moving services to those residents. If you wish to donate to this relief effort, visit arlingtoncommunitycenter.org/Chestnut Manor. Again, that's arlingtoncommunitycenter.org/Chestnut Manor.
On February 9th, Governor Baker announced that the mask mandate for students in Massachusetts will expire on February 28th, leaving individual school districts and municipalities in Massachusetts to decide on their own policies. Baker joins a number of other governors, both Democrat and Republican, in deciding to ease COVID mitigation procedures. This despite the fact that the CDC continues to maintain its current guidance that students and staff should wear masks inside K-12 school buildings. I spoke to Town Manager Adam Chapdelaine to get a sense of how the town will respond to this announcement.
The Board of Health will begin to consider and likely consider at its meeting next week the general public space indoor mask mandate. And I know the superintendent, working with her school committee, will have to consider the school's mask mandate and whether or not it will stay in effect in Arlington. Lots of opinions on all sides, as there has been for a while around pandemic mitigation measures. But we will look at it very closely. We'll look at what our neighbors are doing in surrounding communities and look at both data, science, and our comparable communities, and hopefully within the next week or two, make a decision about where we'll stand on the mask mandate.
As we go to air, it's been barely 24 hours since the governor's announcement, so we intend to track this story as it unfolds over the coming days, and we'll have an update for you in our next newscast. Online registration for kindergarten got underway this month in Arlington. Town school officials say some families live in so-called buffer zones, which provide the district with the ability to balance enrollments across elementary schools. All parents or guardians will need to complete the new student online registration form for the academic year of their choice. Registration for the current school year or next year, 22-23, can be done online. You'll have to answer a health questionnaire and enter information like family demographics and emergency contacts. All you have to do is go to the school website for more information or to register arlington.k12.ma.us/home. Again, that's arlington.k12.ma.us/home.
14 banners celebrating Black History Month are on display throughout town, including Broadway Square and the Heights, during this month of February. These are just some of the banners you'll be seeing as Arlington celebrates Black History Month 2022. You'll see banners from previous years along with some new designs on light poles on Mass Ave in East Arlington, Arlington Center, and the Heights, according to town leaders. Crispus Attucks is one banner that's adorned Mass Ave in the years past. Here's ACMi News Director Jeff Barnes with a report on Crispus Attucks and how he helped change the course of our U.S. history.
All that is definitely known about Crispus Attucks is that he was the first to fall during the Boston Massacre on March the 5th, 1770. Crispus Attucks, a man of African and Native American descent, was born into slavery around 1723 near the vicinity of Framingham, Massachusetts. What we know today paints a picture of a young man who showed skills for buying and trading goods. He seemed unafraid of escaping the bonds of slavery and managed to escape, spending his years as a seaman and a rope maker aboard trading ships and whaling vessels coming in and out of Boston's harbor. As British control over the colonies began to tighten, tensions escalated between the colonists and British soldiers, especially in the city of Boston. Seamen like Crispus Attucks constantly lived with the threat they could be forced into the British Navy at any given time. On the evening of March 5, 1770, several Bostonians approached the guard in front of the customs house and began taunting him. The situation quickly escalated. When a contingent of British redcoats came to the defense of their fellow soldier, more angry Bostonians joined the crowd, throwing snowballs and other items at the troops. Attucks was one of those at the front of the fight amid dozens of people, and when the British opened fire, he was the first of 5 men killed. His murder made him the first casualty of the American Revolution. Known as the Boston Massacre, this episode catapulted the colonies towards war with the British, and Attucks quickly became a martyr in the cause of our liberty. His body was transported to Faneuil Hall, where he and the others killed in this attack lie in state. In the years since his death, Crispus Attucks' legacy has continued to endure, first with the American colonists eager to break from British rule, and later among 19th century abolitionists and 20th century civil rights activists. In his 1964 book, Why We Can't Wait, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. lauded Crispus Attucks for his moral courage and his defining role in our collective American history.
Historians agree one of the musket balls that hit Attucks apparently did not do too much damage, but a second musket ball tore an inch-wide hole in his chest, inflicting the lethal injury. Crispus Attucks and his undying bravery has inspired several generations to take up the call for equality and inclusion, something this nation still struggles to attain in these modern times.
Some members of Arlington's police department raised nearly $8,000 for cancer research at Massachusetts General Hospital. Officers were given the nod by Chief Julianne Flaherty to grow some facial hair in the no-shave months of November and December of 2021 for this cause. Many police officers in Arlington have had their lives impacted by cancer. ACMi News spoke to Captain Richard Flynn of the Arlington Police Department about this year's effort.
I'm not a guy who can actually grow a beard, but I mean, I try to contribute, but the people in the department did a very nice job. And they've been doing that for about 3 years now, Jeff. And this year we raised just under $8,000 to cancer research at MGH. And, we've had a few of our staff go through some things, our family members. So it hits close to home, and it feels good to be able to do that.
Yeah, it always hits close to either family or the workplace, but it's great that you're getting involved. I know you've had a few officers treated at Massachusetts General, which is where all the money is going. I understand that Chief Flaherty gave you the green light in November and December, the no-shave months, to grow a beard, and for each officer donating $200?
Yeah, typically it's about $100 a month. So if you want to participate, and it goes to a worthy cause. And then, we have policies and what have you in regards to, facial hair and what have you. So it's not a bad thing for the officers to be able to grow a beard during the winter time, and they want to do that, and it just fits. Money goes to a good cause. The officers get to grow a little facial hair for a few months, and it's a good fit for us. And it's something we've been doing for about 3 years now. So the second year that we've donated to MGH Cancer Research, we also donated 1 year to a charitable cause in town, the Children's Room. So I think close to about $30,000 over the last 3 years, all told. So
now, November and December, I would think, are not the only months. If someone wants to donate, is there a chance they can?
Yep, they can reach out to us and we'll help them. I mean, we've done some other programs, some other charitable programs, whether it's breast cancer awareness month or what have you, or for autism. So we're always looking to try and give back a little bit. In addition to what we're doing out on the streets, it feels good, and it's, again, just like you mentioned, it's a good way we can partner with the community and help out worthy causes. It's a win-win, what we like to call them.
Well, to learn more about donating to this cause, just call that number you saw on the screen there. That's the Arlington Police Department at 781-643-1212. And again, that's 781-643-1212.
Are you a history buff? Would you like to put that knowledge to good use in the town of Arlington? Well, you're in luck. Volunteers are needed to lead tours of the historic Jason Russell House on weekends from mid-April through mid-October. Guide training for the 2022 season is scheduled for Saturday, March 19th from 10 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. and we'll show you what you need to do in just a few minutes if you're interested in becoming a guide. But first, here's a look at why the Russell House plays an important role in America's War of Independence.
April 19, 1775. The Revolutionary War begins after the shot heard round the world at the Old North Bridge. Facing more firepower from the provincial militia than anticipated, British soldiers, redcoats, leave Concord and begin their slow retreat back to the relative safety of Boston via Cambridge. The fatigued main column of redcoats would pass near the Jason Russell House in what was then known as the village of Menominee, modern-day Arlington. Russell himself, a fairly prosperous 58-year-old farmer, was returning home after secreting his family to safety at a nearby farm.
We have the story of his neighbor coming over and telling him that you should take refuge with the women and children who were going up the hill to today's Belmont. What was happening was that news that was spread by Paul Revere and William Dawes was starting to spread to the more outlying areas, places like Danvers and Salem and along the South Shore. And so all of these people were showing up to fight wherever the fight was happening. And it was getting more and more intense the further toward Cambridge they were going.
It was about 5 p.m. on the 19th of April when the British were passing by these very grounds. Now, waiting for the redcoats on this property, behind thick brush, hastily constructed breastworks, stone walls, and trees, were members of the American militia and the Minutemen, who had poured in earlier that day from surrounding communities like Danvers, Beverly, and Salem. The men focused their attention on the approaching main column of British troops marching along the old Concord Road, now Massachusetts Avenue. When the redcoats were close enough, the rebels then opened fire. Suddenly, the exhausted British soldiers became enraged. Musket fire and heavy smoke swiftly enveloped these grounds, erupting into boundless carnage. 7 men from Danvers were killed in the front yard. 2 were seriously wounded. 1 was taken prisoner. In a frenzied search for cover, some militiamen managed to scurry inside the Jason Russell House.
They just showed up here and they sought refuge in the house. They did some fighting. They were probably shooting from outside windows and trying to hide as they could.
In the midst of outright chaos, Jason Russell himself tried seeking refuge in his home, but he would never make it. He had a lame leg, moved too slow, and was shot twice as he reached the front door. He was then bayoneted 11 times by resolute British infantrymen, following the rebel soldiers who managed to make it inside the house. For the ensuing minutes, this home became a slaughterhouse. The intense barrage of musket fire, billowing smoke and screams overwhelmed this home. Outside, British infantrymen continually peppered the Russell House with musket fire. The musket balls penetrating walls, windows, and ceilings. In this kitchen, a redcoat tried opening the cellar door. and was immediately shot to death by one of the Danvers Minutemen hiding in the floor below. British regulars would then storm the parlor on the first floor, the bloody staircase, the 2 chambers on the second floor, and finally, the attic.
And there's some record of the most intense fighting happening in the upper rooms, which is an interesting fact.
Although the Minutemen put up a furious fight, there was no exit. They were quickly overcome with point-blank British firepower and summarily bayoneted. When the brutal firefight finally subsided and the smoke cleared, the British then ransacked the Russell House and quickly left for Boston. Historians say a total of 12 Americans and 2 redcoats were killed inside the home.
It was such chaos that we know how many people died in the house, but however many flooded in, we have no concept. And we've seen different kinds of, a lot of what we go by is oral history, just because nobody thought to write at the time. But we have somebody who went and interviewed a lot of the children and grandchildren of the participants, and that's one of the best sources that we have for what happened that day.
Jason's wife, Elizabeth, returned to the house to find her husband dead. Jason Russell and other fallen Americans, their bodies riddled with musket balls, torn apart by British bayonets, were laid out like cordwood on the kitchen floor, blood from their fatal wounds forming a grotesque pool in the room. Elizabeth was reported to have said the blood in the room was almost ankle deep. Today, a 19-foot white marble obelisk serves as the final resting place for Jason Russell and others who gave their lives to breathe new life into what would become a new nation. Nearly 250 years later, new and exciting clues continue to emerge throughout the home, attesting to the brutality of that awful day. Just 2 years ago, a team of archaeologists and historians conducted a ballistic study in the Jason Russell house. Within minutes, they were finding several musket ball holes that have been overlooked for well over 2 centuries. Within 10 minutes of their arrival, they discovered a musket hole on the dark side of the door jamb leading to the Russell cellar. More holes were found in the first floor parlor, the staircase, and the attic. The trajectory of many strikes points to the exterior Mass Ave wall just below the first floor parlor window, likely fired by British regulars outside, targeting provincials pouring gunfire from the inside.
And then we're finding the new information that comes from this study that is taking part. I think very few, I don't know if they found additional bullet holes at any of the other sites, but this one, we're already well known for the bullet holes, and then to have found additional ones is pretty remarkable.
As word of the Jason Russell House continues to gain in popularity and status among history buffs, centuries later, it is still revealing its guarded secrets and attesting to the tenacity of those people who lived and ultimately died here. For ACMi News, I'm Jeff Barn.
If you're interested in learning more about the Russell House or to become a guide, training for the 2022 season is scheduled for Saturday, March 19th from 10 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. If you want to learn more, call the Arlington Historical Society at 781-648-4300.
What's happening with Arlington High School students this week? Well, we return to our Studio B at Arlington High School for this week's Ponderscope.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Ponderscope. I'm Jasper Zelmer. Spring sports registration is now open. Be sure you are up to date with your physicals and concussion impact test before you register. You have until March 16th to sign up. To find out more about the spring athletic offerings, visit the Arlington Athletics page of the AHS website. The AHS Anti-Racism Working Group is offering a workshop surrounding racial identity at Robbins Library on Friday, March 25th. This is a great opportunity for anyone interested in learning more about diversity, equity, and inclusion. Students who choose to attend will have an excused absence from school. You can use the Google form linked below to sign up for the workshop. Ever wondered about the higher authorities in our administration? Well, UView has recently released a series of interviews with AHS Principal Dr. Matthew Jenger and APS Superintendent Dr. Elizabeth Homan. Be sure to check out these episodes to learn more about them and what they've been working on. You can find the Higher Perspectives series on UView's YouTube channel, which is linked below. AHS has made some changes to their COVID testing program. Students and staff now have the opportunity to sign up to receive a free rapid testing kit every 2 weeks. You can still participate in pool testing, and it is recommended that you administer an at-home test every Thursday or when you experience symptoms. To participate in at-home testing, give your consent using the link below. I'm Jasper Zelmer, and that's all for this week's Ponder Scope.
Are you looking to become the next Steven Spielberg or Catherine Bigelow? Or how about the next Jessica Chastain or Morgan Freeman? ACMi can make your dreams come true through our A-Town Film Fest for youth filmmakers. All you have to do is go to the ACMi website, acmi.tv/A-Town, for all the details about this year's ACMi Film Fest. You can win cash prizes and see your work on the big screen at the Regent Theater this May. First, you must fill out an application form, and that can wait. Just take a look at our 2022 A-Town Film Fest promo first to see if you're interested.
Shut up.
After seeing that, you interested? Of course you are. Again, just go to our website, acmi.tv/A-Town, to get started. The submission deadline is Friday, April 1st. Our website will show you where to go from there. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to call us at 781-777-1115. And once you've submitted your work and you've secured that high-priced Hollywood agent who's demanding 20% of your intake, we can say, we remember them when. Good luck. We want to hear from you. And that'll do it for this week's edition of ACMi News. Thanks for joining us. I'm James Milan.
And I'm Paul Werlin. Have a great day, everyone. Stay safe and stay warm. Good night.
You can always check out our latest segments and newscasts on the web at acmi.tv/news. And don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at ACMi News. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. You'll find us at youtube.com/ACMi News. If you have any news tips for us or wish to become a citizen journalist, we'd love to hear from you. Email us at news@acmi.tv or stop by ACMI Studio A at 85 Park Avenue.